Hello, if oh no, they don't want to start with that either. What do we want to start with? What's our opening screen? That. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
What did we do last time in the last video?
Well, we took pictures of my children.
Yes.
Children.
And we brought them into the computer, and today we're going to go through them with you, lovely folks.
Yes. So thanks for coming along on that ride.
Yeah.
I would like to say, because I didn't say it while I was there, because I didn't think about it, but we're renovating that house, so kind of looks a little rough around the edges.
A little bit.
A little bit rough. So
well, I wouldn't say it's the edges that are rough.
What's the rough part? The middle?
The back porch. The back. That's the rough back.
So we have a redneck back porch.
Still a rough back.
That's gonna go away.
And a rough.
Maybe you could Photoshop in what the back porch should look like.
That would be another day video. That'd be another day video.
That'd be another tutorial.
That'd be another day video.
But there was a lesson that we learned about that, right?
Yes.
About.
Well, we were shooting on a fast aperture of f4, which meant that ultimately what we were trying to do was blur out those backgrounds. So I think we achieved that on some of these.
Yeah. So even though there was a redneck back porch and unidentified items underneath tarps.
Yep.
And perhaps discarded to the backyard materials of questionable worth.
Yes.
We mostly were able to frame those out and have nice photo shoot anyway.
That's exactly right. Well, it was also a long focal length, which meant that we were cropping in and we really had a small area that we were working with, which meant we didn't get a whole lot of background, which is good. It's what we wanted. We want to focus on the kids this time.
So the images didn't really show the redneck back porch.
So without further ado, let's go through our selected images, because like I said, we've picked out our favorites, and we're going to go through these.
We've had enough ado. No more ado.
No more ado. Some of these you saw in the actual video. We actually edited some of these in the actual video when we showed it.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually saw some of these if you watched our previous video about the shooting, the kid portraiture.
It's my lovely husband.
Okay, so here.
Lovely daughter.
So let me back up a little bit. So basically, I'm in Lightroom, which is sort of the de facto go-to photo editing application. And after I brought all the pictures in, this is what you're looking at. You're looking at all these thumbnails. So if you double click one, and you can come up over here to the Develop tab, and this is where you're going to. So when this first came in, let me reset it. When this came in straight from the camera, it looked like that.
And I'm going to be honest, as not a photographer, that entire right panel looks daunting.
The colors
look. What is that?
Well, the colors look flat. What? Oh, this right panel?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll go over that in a sec. But let's analyze this image. The color looks flat. We've got a pair of legs up here in the scene, which, even though they're blurred out, you can still see them.
I thought it was a blue tree. A pair of blue trees.
So here's the processed image, right? Colors look better.
Yeah.
So what I do, I come down all these sliders in order. This is the color temperature, the first one. You got cool to warm. I warm them up a little bit. Generally, it's fall and the sun was out, and you want a slightly warmer look on these. Tint, I very rarely mess with that. That's really only if the camera really missed on the color temperature. You can actually bring it more to the greens or more to the pinks. But generally speaking, I leave that alone. If you double click on these, it resets them to where they were initially.
I have a question.
What's your question?
Could you bring smartphone pictures into Lightroom and work
with them? Of course. Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
I sense a new episode coming in the future.
Ah, I sense it too. I sense it as well. Nice sip.
That was a delicious future episode sip.
Now, the exposure, I left that in the middle. You know why?
No, Tim, tell me why.
Because the camera nailed the exposure.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. If it had been too dark and it looked like that, or if it had been overexposed and looked like that, we could have corrected it by moving the exposure thing up or down.
What do you do if you want to bring it back to its original setting?
Double click on that.
Perfect.
Yeah, you just double click on the...
So even if you mess it up, you can go back to the beginning with double clicking on them.
That's exactly right. Or if you mess with all these settings, and you want it just to how it came out of your camera, you can click reset down here, which is what we did a second ago. Yeah. So I continue to go through contrast. You can add contrast if you like. I usually leave that one alone unless sometimes if you're taking pictures of like sometimes if you're taking pictures of landscapes and things like that, sometimes you want to bump the contrast, especially if you've got like mountains in the sky.
Bump it up.
Sometimes bumping the contrast is
it
a nice
up.
thing to do. Yeah.
Bump it up.
Bump it up.
Contrast. Bump it up.
Bump up your contrast. Highlights are exactly what it sounds like. Look at Gwen's hair
This
right
is
now.
the highlight of my day.
You see Gwen's hair right there? You see? So all the bright parts in the image, the highlight. Think of it as like treble on a guitar amp, whereas shadows is like bass on a guitar amp. Yeah? Is that resonating with you? It's resonating with you guys.
Resonating.
Ah.
Some more music.
Oh! Boom!
Your punmanship
I'm on form
is on
today.
fire.
Shadows. Sometimes you
That's
can.
where I live.
In the shadows. Shadows, you see it brings the dark areas up and down.
Mm. Did we add or take away on this one? Or do neither? Is it neutral?
We added a little bit. I actually added a little bit of shadows.
Contrast a bit.
And now you've got whites and blacks, which are kind of like highlights and shadows, but they're a little more heavy-handed. So the whites, it just brings up all the white in the image. It doesn't try to decipher what's lights and what's darks. It just brings up all the light things.
Interesting.
Whereas blacks will literally bring down the blacks. I oftentimes reduce blacks a little bit just to create a little bit of contrast. Now, clarity is a very cool one. That actually you end up with is these really crispy.
Looks like a 1997 album cover.
Yeah, it does, because it has a bit of drama to it, a little bit of grunge. Now, when I'm doing portraiture, I do the reverse. I actually do negative clarity.
Oh, it softens.
It softens the facial features. That's why I like it.
Fun fact, sometimes Tim takes badge photos of people at work for them to have security badge photos. Mm-hmm. He will occasionally remove blemishes from people.
Never. I would never do such a thing. Let me move down to
He's gotten in trouble from doing it.
I have. Well, I'm not going to admit to that. So next one is dehaze. Dehaze is another good landscaping one because dehaze is one that we use.
That's going to be the name of my vodka brand when I create an entire luxury liquor bottling empire.
Look what it does. It's sort of like if we take it now, like if that's what your image looks like because it was super hazy, you can fix it. But we're not going to use dehaze because it wasn't a hazy day and we don't have any reason for it. Vibrance, I always bump that up if I've got bright colors.
He does. So vibrant.
I'm so vibrant.
Always bumps up the vibrance.
But look what happens if we overdo it. Like boom! It takes the colors and it amps them up.
Highlighter.
Saturation does a similar thing, but saturation literally just saturates all the colors. I don't usually mess with saturation.
It had an excess of beta carotene.
Right. So that's where we ended up with that image. Now. This image, we did this one in black and white. I can't remember why, but there's a color treatment here that says color, boom, black and white. I think
it's because Gwen's eyes were so piercing.
I also think it's because we've got these incredibly blown out highlights, and sometimes when you convert it to black and white, that incredibly high contrast can actually be a nice look.
Yeah.
So onwards
and upwards.
I have to say that for a very first time using a digital SLR camera, you did a really lovely job.
See, I didn't know if that was going to be an I have to say I hate this photo, or I have to say you've done a nice job, or I have to say I'm lactose intolerant.
I do have to say that you lost Gwen's hand on this shot, which is unfortunate. However, we've regained it. We've redeemed ourselves on the following frame.
We got our hand back.
Yeah, she got her hand back. And this is a lovely, lovely photo. So kudos, Megan. I mean, you're natural.
Another high five.
You know,
this is a high fivey kind of episode.
These kids, and they were acting goofy. They were being silly. You saw the previous video, but holy cow, did we yield some good results, right? Because oftentimes when kids are acting silly and goofy, I think this one is the money shot of the shoot. I think this is the one. This is the one. This is the picture.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I really like this picture.
I like it too. Turned out nice.
And this, I didn't suggest that.
Something else cool that I'm experiencing.
What did you experience?
That I could possibly have predicted, but all the warm fuzzies that come back when you get to be the photographer. It's one thing going on a shoot, and one thing as a mom, you're never in the photos. Everybody knows that. Moms are never in the photos. The photographers are never in the photos. We take all the photos. But this is pretty magical, going back and remembering how much fun this day was. And Tim came and hung out with the family, and the kids thought it was amazing. And I always have that memory of taking these photos.
Oh, that's lovely. So nice. I really like that.
Lovely.
I really like that sentiment. Do you remember when you were taking this photo? Do you remember what I said about the focusing point? How I told you to put that red dot on the eye?
On the eye.
So let me show you something just by zooming in. Look at the eyes. Look at how. Look at
This
how.
one's more clear, right?
Yeah, I mean they're bang on. You put that focus point on the eye, and they are bang in focus, and that's exactly what you want. That is a perfect image.
Are they
And
bangers and mash in focus?
the bangers and mash in focus. Because you mashed the button to get the focus.
Bang on.
Bang on, exactly. Bangers and mash.
That's
Oh,
really...
that can be a thing from now on. If a picture's perfect. I want to give you kudos for this composition, Megan.
Thank you.
I mean, I had nothing to do with this. This was totally. Did he climb in that chair, or
yes.
did you direct that?
Oh no! Look at that chair. It's
So,
appalling.
yeah, but it's amazing. It's an amazing composition, especially the closer up one. I think this is a fantastic shot. I hate the fact that we're losing the rest of his hand, but we have a really beautiful image here. And Mike drinking a natural light.
Are we gonna have to blur that out? Are we gonna get sued by natural light?
I don't think we're going to get sued by natural light. That's a nice image. That's perfect, in fact. When we're not losing his elbow. That's all in frame.
Ah, look at that. I did that on purpose.
You followed the rule of thirds beautifully. I mean, he's sitting on this left third of the frame. And look at how blurred out the background is. Isn't that beautiful? That's an isolated subject. Similar with this one. This is a nice image too. I think her leg's cut off in an awkward spot here, but I think that's a really nice image. Again with this one, his facial expression is a little questionable on that one.
His facial expression is always questionable.
That's a great image. It's a full body shot. The light is really nice.
It's a simple concept, but I don't...
Yeah, it is a simple concept. What's
I
going on
haven't
here?
brought it in here.
What's this? What's his face? What's going on with that?
It's just his face.
Look at all the, like these, it's like there was things floating in the air. Do you see?
Mm-hmm. Those are bugs, Tim.
These are so beautiful. Nice work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm learning to take compliments. We've discussed that today.
We did discuss that today. Megan's really, really...
because I have a default of like, well, he's just saying that because we're friends.
But
except here's the thing, Tim's actually really brutal with photography feedback. He's very like, I don't like that design. That's rubbish.
Hey, he took a picture of me. That's a nice image,
Yeah.
Megan. That's me with my GoPro. We didn't use any of the GoPro footage from that shoot.
Do we have it?
We
should use it.
Maybe we could use it in the future. You never know when you're going to...
we could do a GoPro sesh. I think we're going to have another episode in the future.
And here's the family shoots. We didn't cover these in the video because I lost my talent who had to be in the picture. But we didn't cover the family pictures in the video, but they stuck around. Well, I stuck around long enough to get some pictures of them as a family. So you're seeing them now. If you're watching this video, you're seeing these now. And what a lovely family they are, I would say, indeed.
I shall keep them. I'm not going to trade them in.
You haven't shared these on social medias yet.
I know, I need to get on it with the social media. If you're watching this and you've seen my social media feed. Social media feed!
Social media feed.
Is that a thing?
That's going to be a thing. We're going to launch that.
Thank you. Thank you for patronizing.
Patronizing? They're not patron. What are they telling us?
No, it's like you're a patron of a thing. Like you come to...
Yeah, I get it.
That's a confusing
But they're not being patronizing.
No. Well, I hope not.
They're patronage.
Talk to me like that.
Yeah, how dare you.
Patronizing.
Final thoughts. First photo shoot. I'm going to go back to... This is an image I took. I'm going to go back to an image you took. Final thoughts. You can take images like this. I just proved that with very little guidance, we yielded some gorgeous images. And
this was my second time holding that camera and taking images. The first time we took fire hydrants and dog poop signs.
And we made a video, but we didn't share it. It wasn't good enough. But the pictures were good. The fire hydrant was good. The dog poop sign didn't really turn out. If this is helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If not, you know what to do as well.
Keep learning along with us. Double thumbs down if you don't like it.
That's diabolical, as you said. Yeah. All right. We will let us on the Menjay. See you in the next one.
Bye now.